welcome to my CAD evaluation. As for skills, for question 1, I believe that I reached an adequate level for Get 10. I know how to use assemblies, I know how to use parts, and how to combine parts together to combine assembly. I had trouble with the animation in assembly, but overall I thought it was fine. Altogether, I thought I didn't use the parts to assembly as well as I could. I kept thinking the entire project was one single product or part, and in the first time I made it, I combined everything together as one part, which I had to remake it. So that showcased my skill as I'm able to combine things, and I also find myself lacking the skill of thinking ahead of time. I didn't think my shape was complex enough and didn't really allow me to show what I had to offer my skills. So that was an opinion on my skills and how I improved it, and what I think of my improvements. So moving on to question 2. How well did your product solve the client's problem in part A? Alright, so in part A I mentioned that people were having problems with energy transfers and energy transfer losses. We're facing a world of climate changes and the world needs a reliable renewable energy solution. I also stated a loss of land loss due to land loss due to overpopulation. So the designer created floats so that it ensured safe land area, and also renewable energy by wind generation floating up in the sky. I also have a quick transfer method by shooting the electricity right now using graphene cover over plastic power lines, which is pretty good. The surrounding balloon of the turbine is also graphene solar panel, which works during raining seasons. So that's my problem for some renewable energy. Oh yeah, also the balloon uses hydrogen instead of helium, which is unrenewable. Yeah, in part A, I believe I solved a lot of the issues in part A theoretically. As for part B, design specifications, as it states, pentagon main body, which I included, possible energy transfer method, and that's the wire thing I mentioned before. Turbine blade about 6 meters in length, calculated. 2 parts of blade which does not touch the inner surface of the outer circle. Yes. Balloon representation of one the culture in the world. My design culture was a fish from the Japanese holiday season, something, a red fish. So made to release 3 components or parts. Mine was made around with 10. Favorite texture from Inventor, yes. Include a poster with the use of red with measurements. Included. Evidence of 3 drafts before the final design. That was created inside part B. Video evidence creating design, which you're seeing right now. Yeah, I think I did a pretty good job of hitting all the requirements in part B or design specifications. So how challenging was the project for me? Overall, I say the project wasn't really that challenging. I find the SketchUp one a lot harder. The main reason I think this is that because I didn't challenge myself hard enough. This is the kind of project that really depends on the person who's doing it. So I said I didn't challenge myself far enough. For the most part, I thought my design resembled a single part rather than a collective assembly, which I regretted doing. I thought I could have made it more complex, and that would have been harder. Not saying I didn't encounter any issues, like the assembly parts where I tried to assemble all the parts together. There were some parts in the linking and combining the parts which I had a lot of difficulty with, especially the lightings, which kept glitching out as places and things like it. I faced a challenge in making the 3 draft designs, which wasn't that big of an issue. The measurement was the issue, trying to combine the logical size of the design, trying to make it float, the accurate size for energy generation for a household, so that was quite difficult. So I overcome most of these challenges by simple calculations. The drafting, I used a combination of wind, and other forms of sizes, which I thought would work. I also included hydro energy, which is water production by using lake power generation, which was I believe the first design that I had, or second design that I did. So that's how I overcome my challenges, by using a variety and different ideas, sizes and things like it. And also for the CAD CAD assembly, I didn't overcome that. That was still an option. In the main design, you can see some mistakes of it and some parts that's misplaced. Yeah, a quick mention. I just want to say another challenge I faced was the incorrect use of parts. In the beginning, I put everything to one part, which I later found was a mistake. So I had to remake the entire thing into separated parts. While in the first time was near a finishing stage. So that's one another challenge that I faced, which wasn't a big one as I finished making it quite quickly. I feel like if I had kept in mind of assembly ever since the first beginning and not think of the thing as a single product or part, I feel like I could challenge myself more with more combinations, more parts, and more different shapes which I could use for combinations. And so I'm moving on to question 3. Right, efforts. I didn't feel like I put a lot of efforts into this assignment, a lot less than usual actually. So the total design time of the entire product took about 3 hours, plus an extra 2 for the poster making, and then maybe another half an hour for the idea generations. Compared to the 30-hour design process, without including idea generation, drafting, measurements, calculations inside of the SketchUp design, which I did before. And to answer the question about how important effort is, I believe effort is not as important as many people think. Although I believe effort will bring you something and increase what you're capable of, I don't think effort is everything, but more of a combination between effort and smart thinking. I believe just because you're persistent effort, consistently putting effort into something doesn't mean you're always going to be success in it. If you're always persistent in a skill or things that always will be bad for you, or always be failed or be doomed to fail, I believe it's useless. As this project was not only just a CAD project, but also a part of my business plan projects for my PLG, I actually gained a decent amount of feedback for this project and design, if you will. So from my teammates from my PLG team, they recommended me the signal idea, the network idea, which I included in there with the signal receiver, I would say. Also signal sender. Also I got some feedback from my CAD teacher for my blade construction, which required a curved cut, which also helped me improve in my ability to think further, how I can make more complicated shapes, and how I possibly can improve my other skills. Another feedback that I had throughout the design was the complaints from a friend about the shapes, which actually helped me a lot in thinking how to make the design more compelling, how I could construct and combine and assemble all these shapes in a more compelling way. But also, I thought that was quite useful for me as a future, maybe engineer or architect. I also mentioned a lot of things like uses, like logical, realistic uses, the use of color, a combination of lightings for the future planes, which by floating so high up will be dangerous, so lights will be included. So throughout all these feedbacks from my friend, a good friend of mine, which is really picky, which I love, that's one of the best things about him. He helped me think about realism, how to add features that will help society, how logically each of these obstacles and machinery working with life, and what things I need to think ahead of time to prevent from happening, like a plane crashing into it, or the lights for the plane for sea, signals for me to make business off from, and just really good designs in general in my drafting stages while talking to my friend. Alright, so 30 seconds left, and setbacks. So how I deal with setbacks was just I just do them. When I make mistakes, when I realize I did it in one single part, I just redo the entire project again. If I felt like it was too much effort and was not critical enough, like a small placements within the assembly, I just leave it. If it doesn't take much effort, I just redo it. So I take responsibility for all my failures and I try my best to recall them. And no, the setbacks normally does not discourage me at all, and I try my best to fix it. This is the end of my CAD evaluation. So we're all said and done. Bye.